Ever wondered how different software applications communicate with each other seamlessly? Ever heard of REST-based APIs and wondered what they are? Well, you're about to find out. Welcome to the fascinating world of representational state transfer, or as we call it, REST-based APIs. These are not just buzzwords tossed around in the tech sphere. They are pivotal elements that make our modern, interconnected digital world possible. REST-based APIs are a set of rules and conventions for building and interacting with web services. They act as a bridge between different software applications, allowing them to communicate, exchange information, and work together in a harmonious way. Whether you are browsing your favorite social media site, shopping online, or using a weather app on your phone, you are benefiting from the magic of REST-based APIs. But why are they so important, particularly for IT professionals? In the vast landscape of software development and IT, understanding REST-based APIs is akin to learning a universal language. It equips professionals with the knowledge to create, manage, and improve the software applications that power businesses, entertain us, and make our lives easier. And what about CRUD operations and HTTP verbs? These are integral parts of how REST-based APIs operate. CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete, the four basic functions of persistent storage. HTTP verbs like get, post, put, delete, and more are the means by which these operations are performed. But don't worry, we're not going to leave you hanging with just these brief mentions. In the upcoming scenes, we will delve deeper into the nitty-gritty of CRUD operations and HTTP verbs and how they work within REST-based APIs. We'll also explore JSON encoding, another crucial aspect of this realm. So buckle up and prepare for an exciting journey into the world of REST-based APIs. By the end of this, you'll have a solid understanding of these important concepts. And who knows, you might even start seeing the digital world around you in a new light. REST-based APIs are the unsung heroes of our interconnected software world. Now let's delve deeper into how they work. In our journey to understand REST-based APIs, we will first tackle CRUD operations. What are they and how do they function? Let's start by decoding the acronym. CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. These four operations form the backbone of any system that interacts with data. In the context of REST-based APIs, CRUD operations are used to manipulate data on the server. Firstly, we have Create. This operation is used when you want to add new data to your database. Imagine you're using an app to jot down your thoughts. Each time you write a new note, you're essentially using a create operation to add that note to a database somewhere. Next up is Read. This operation is used to retrieve data from the database. Let's stick with our note-taking example. When you open the app and see a list of all your notes, that's a read operation in action, fetching data from the database and displaying it to you. Moving on, we have Update. This operation modifies existing data in the database. If you decide to add to or modify one of your notes, the Update operation comes into play. It finds the specific note in the database and changes it according to your instructions. Lastly, there's Delete. As its name suggests, this operation removes data from the database. If you decide a note is no longer needed and you trash it, that's the delete operation at work. So, why are CRUD operations important? Well, they provide a systematic and structured way of interacting with data. Whether you're building a simple note-taking app or a complex e-commerce platform, you'll need these four operations to manage your data effectively. But it's not enough to just understand these operations. We must also know how to communicate them to our REST API. And that's where HTTP verbs come into the picture. But we'll save that discussion for the next scene. CRUD operations are fundamental to REST-based APIs. Now, on to how we communicate these operations, HTTP verbs. Now that you know about CRUD operations, how do we communicate these to our API? Enter HTTP verbs. HTTP verbs, also known as methods, are the crucial component of any REST-based API. They provide the action that needs to be performed on the resources. Each verb corresponds to a specific CRUD operation, which makes them an essential part of any API interaction. Let's dive deeper into these verbs. First up, we have the get verb. As the name suggests, it's all about getting or retrieving data. It corresponds to the read operation in CRUD. When you make a get request, you're asking the server to fetch some information without making any changes. Next, we have post. This is the verb that corresponds to the create operation. When you make a post request, you're asking the server to create a new resource. It's like adding a new entry to a database. Then comes put. This verb is used for updating existing resources and corresponds to the update operation. When you use a PUT request, you're asking the server to make changes to a specific resource. Last but not least, we have delete. As you might guess, it's used for deleting resources and corresponds to the delete operation. A delete request tells the server to remove a specific resource. Understanding these HTTP verbs is crucial for IT professionals. Why, you ask? Well, these verbs form the backbone of any interaction with a REST-based API. Whether you're developing an app, managing a database, or troubleshooting a network, you will likely encounter these verbs. They are the language that we use to communicate with the API, telling it what we want to do with the resources. In a nutshell, HTTP verbs are the commands that we use to perform CRUD operations in REST-based APIs. They provide a standardized way to create, read, update, and delete data, making it easier for developers to build and manage applications. HTTP verbs are the language that we use to communicate with our REST-based API. Next, we'll be taking a look at JSON encoding. Ever wondered how data is organized and sent over the internet? Let's unravel the mystery of JSON encoding. Picture this. You're sending a letter. Instead of writing everything in one long, unbroken line, you would logically structure your content, right? You'd have a greeting, body text, and a sign-off. JSON, or JavaScript Object Notation, does something similar for data on the internet. So, what exactly is JSON? It's a lightweight data interchange format that's easy for humans to read and write, and easy for machines to parse and generate. Essentially, JSON is a syntax for storing and exchanging data. It's text, written with JavaScript Object Notation. Now, you might be thinking, why do we need JSON? Well, when you're working with applications, you often need to send data from one server to another. It could be user information, product details, or anything else. JSON helps us to organize this data in a structured way, which makes it easier to work with. JSON is often used when data is sent from a server to a web page. It's based on key-value pairs, which means each piece of data or value is associated with a unique key. Think of it like a locker system. Each locker or key has something inside it, the value. So, how do we interpret JSON encoded data? It's quite simple, really. JSON data is written as key-value pairs, with keys and values separated by colon and pairs separated by comma. The keys are always strings, and the values can be strings, numbers, objects, arrays, booleans, or null. For instance, a simple JSON object could look like this. Name John, age 30, city, New York. Here, name, age, and city are keys, and John 30 and New York are their respective values. As an IT professional, understanding JSON is crucial. It's the backbone of data transmission in many modern web services and plays a vital role in RESTful APIs, which we will discuss in our next episode. JSON. Encoding is a neat and efficient way to transmit data over the internet. Now, let's summarize what we've learned today. We've covered quite a bit of ground today. Let's go over the key points. We kicked off our journey by diving into the world of REST-based APIs. As we saw, these application programming interfaces provide a structured way for software systems to communicate with each other. We examined how they leverage HTTP protocols to enable seamless data exchange between different software components. Next, we turned our attention to CRUD operations. Remember, CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update, and Delete. These are the basic operations that are integral to any data-driven application. In the context of REST-based APIs, these operations are mapped to HTTP verbs, which brings us to the next point of our recap. HTTP verbs or methods play a pivotal role in REST-based APIs. We discussed the four main verbs: get, post, put, and delete, which correspond to the CRUD operations. We saw how using the right HTTP verb is crucial for the correct functioning of an API. From HTTP verbs, we moved on to JSON encoding. JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation, is a lightweight data interchange format. It is easy for humans to read and write, and easy for machines to parse and generate. This makes it an ideal choice for data serialization and transmission over network connections, especially in the context of REST-based APIs. These concepts, while seemingly complex, are the building blocks of modern software development. Understanding how to interpret JSON-encoded data, how to work with REST-based APIs, and how to utilize HTTP verbs and CRUD operations equips you with the tools to create more efficient, robust, and interconnected software systems. But remember, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The world of software development is vast and constantly evolving. It's important to keep expanding your knowledge and refining your skills. Understanding REST-based APIs and JSON encoding is crucial in today's interconnected software world. Keep exploring, keep learning, and see you in our next episode.